looking at that. We are live. We are live. Come on in, people. We are live. Okay, let me start here. It registers. Give it a minute to kick in. There we are. We start here. It registers. Give it a minute to kick in. All right. I just use this to see for the comments because for some reason I'm not technically savvy enough. I'm not technically savvy enough.
I can't even do my share thing.
You can't?
No, and I was just like, oh, I wish I could text her and tell her to bring my phone down.
Oh.
I literally just said that to myself. Right? Tell her to bring my phone.
Oh. I know.
It's a long day. Please forgive me.
I know. We have them. We have them.
I said that.
I know. We have them. That's one of the things about what we do. You got to create the space to woosah. Yeah. Come on in. We're waiting on people to come in. So,
well, let me run and grab my phone
so
I can share with on my Facebook people.
Okay. Waiting for people to come in. We are going to be talking about negativity biases. So go ahead and click like and share. Click like and share so that we can get this word spread. This is my way with my girlfriend Stephanie of us sharing information that you would not otherwise come across if you were not in this field or if you were not looking for it. So please like and share. Jump on in. Click like and share. Also on YouTube. Okay. I think I shared it already. Hello, hello, hello. We have a couple people watching. Whew, we have been gone for a little bit, but we are back now.
Hey everyone.
You guys, we just do what we tell everybody else to do. We live life. We take breaks when we need to take breaks. I understand like the algorithms and all those kind of things. If you just want to be visual, all the things you need to do. But the one thing that we make sure that we do is take care of ourselves. And sometimes that means maybe not necessarily doing the live on a particular day because life is life. Life is life.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Antoine. Thank you for chiming in. Please click like and share so that other people on your Facebook page can see what is happening and get this information. We're going to be talking about negativity bias. This will be very interesting for Antoine because I know Antoine is always posting and recently posted on the negativity that we focus on and has made a conscious decision to intentionally post positivity, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really post positivity. So
like the experiment, the research experiment, when you talk to plants, you saw that research where they talk to a plant, they talk mean to a plant, they could water both plants the same, but they would talk mean to a plant and say, you will never grow, you're worthless, blah, blah, blah. And that plant doesn't grow. It stays hard. It's hard for it to stay remain hydrated. And yet the other plant that they're talking loving to, I believe in you, thank you for what, and just having gratitude, that plant grows. It's an actual scientific research.
Wow. Well, let me just say I believe it because I do it. I'll be like, what's wrong with you, girl? Why you not growing? You want me to clean your leaves?
Yes. You need some water today? You can do that for a plant.
Yes. What can we do for us?
We need to be positive.
We absolutely
need to be aware of the negative biases that we have.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, for sure. So today we're going to be talking about negative biases. I am Michelle Bird, your licensed professional counselor, and My
And
lovely friend.
Stephanie Stevens McCain, licensed marriage and family therapist.
Yes. So today we're going to be talking about negativity biases. And this is something that Stephanie came up with. It's something that I was not familiar with, but not the name of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, Steph, I'm going to let you go ahead and start.
Well, you gathered
Go ahead.
the formal
Okay.
definition,
Yes.
and it just came about for me because of another conversation I was having, and what it reminded me was, and this is the most simplistic thing, and then I'll let Michelle read the formal definition. Is when we had this, the easiest thing that helped me, or what brought it to my attention and when I shared it with Michelle, is how we can do so many wonderful and great things just like as little kids. We get these A's in school, or let's just go back as far as when we were getting E's and N's.
I
E's
know, right?
S's. And so we get all E's on our report card and there's one S.
Yeah.
And all our parents could talk about was the S.
Right.
Or all they could talk about was the C, and we get straight A's, and then it creates this reactivity inside of the human experience, the nervous system, and also into the brain. And that's kind of what starts this whole negative bias thing, is that we now start to be on the hunt for stuff that's not right.
Even and a lot of times sometimes intentionally, but sometimes subconsciously.
Yes, a lot of times
Just the brain just go right there.
Yes, and I'll share that experience that I had today because of
Oh,
negative bias, and my brain went straight to.
right.
I mean,
Right.
it was amazing. It's just, life is like that, though. What you teach, you most need to learn.
Mm-hmm. Right. It'll go find. And I would have a diagram that I will share online a little bit later, the picture of it.
Yeah,
Wish I had found it a little bit sooner because I would have shared it in the discussion
that's
part of the
that's
invite.
brilliant.
But I will definitely share it because it talks about how our brain goes there and then it looks for.
You have to, because we have to affirm it. We have to validate the
Yes.
information.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the negative bias is our tendency to not only register negative stimuli more readily, but also to dwell on these events, right? And so this psychological phenomenon explains why bad first impressions can be so difficult to overcome and why past traumas can have such long and lingering effects. So we're going to get more into that, but our psychological being needs to focus on that. We go straight to that. Somebody can tell you one negative thing and a billion positive things, and all you heard was the negative thing. And it's really amazing how the brain works in this phenomenon. It's really amazing how the brain works in this phenomenon and how it stores this negative effect. And then there's this stress level, and then it's looking for more negative, and it just keeps looping around where it's positive. And I'll put the diagram on Facebook so people can see it. Whereas positive just goes straight through the brain from here, straight through. There is no ruminating on it, which will explain why, you've heard, I'm sure, where you have, you got to say 10 positive things to combat the negative things.
Negative thing.
Yeah. 10 positive things to combat the negative things. So we tend to ruminate on and remember traumatic experiences better than positive ones. Recall insults better than praise. Like we don't even think about it. It's like it's out of the praise is out of our mind. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and you thought, is that what you heard? Is that all you heard?
Yes.
I said all of this. That's the only thing you heard. Well, this explains this so well, right? We have a tendency to think about negative things more frequently than positive ones, and then respond more strongly to negative events. We play out, oh, you're really great. I love how you did that. Oh my God, the way you shot that basket. I don't even want to use basketball. Boys be like, yeah, they eat that up. So I can't even use that. But people say really great things and we play it off. Oh, that old thing. Oh, this old dress. But if you say, why would you wear that dress? Then it's like, oh my God, should I have not worn this dress? Oh, should I? What's wrong with, like, you
And it's
go,
still a this old thing, but we don't go there.
no, 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 we absolutely don't. Um, so this lends to what your example is going to be. Like, you might be having this great day, right? And all of a sudden somebody says something or does something, make an offhand comment, or something happens. And then you get irritated, fear creeps in, you find yourself ruminating over it,
Mhm.
and you get home and somebody asks you, well, how was your
How was your
day?
day?
And it's like,
It's
it
over.
was horrible. The one thing happened. It was horrible because the
Mhm.
one thing happened, because the
Mhm.
brain would not allow you to focus, even to go even into
Mhm.
the rest of the day. Let's say it happened
Mhm.
in the beginning of the day. It won't even let you go into the rest of the day
Mhm.
positive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and it's we have to learn to become intentional about our happiness. Um,
Yes.
there is an emotional, I don't know if I got it right here. There's an emotional scale, and one of the top things in the emotional scale, number one, is joy and blissfulness. And
Mm-hmm.
then the second one is well, the first one is peace and blissfulness, and then there's joy. And that is that's the plate that should be the plate that we're constantly always spinning, to be in
Mm-hmm.
peace and bliss. And so when we get attacked or when we have these negative biases, the goal is to bring ourselves back to peace. And what can I focus myself on that's
Yes.
going to bring me back to a place of peace?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you got to say that thing, affirmations, we both
Yes.
love affirmations or a mantra all day long until you feel the peace. Because what I learned, I got some crazy news today, and what I learned is that, oh, instantly I felt a negative reaction to it. All the other things that's going on as it's going on, and I see the evidence of my granddaughter is something that happened with my granddaughter with her health. 6 years she been here, 6 years. Whatever they did at zero has been working for 6 years, and all of a sudden I went straight into, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And so
Yeah.
all day long, I have been having to say mantras to counter the oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, because the oh my God is not even real.
Right.
It's rehearsed. It's
Yes.
programmed to be a fear, or call it bad, or
Right.
even the work that I have my clients do to write that fear list. I
Yes.
fear and blah blah blah. I had to write that fear down and then ask myself, is it true?
Is
Can I
it
support
true?
this? Can I support
Yes.
this with any information other than me, that my nervous system sending out this false alarm?
Yes.
No.
Right.
No, but the bias is to focus on my idea, my programming, that life has gone wrong, when the
Mm-hmm.
reality is that it
It
hasn't.
hasn't. It hasn't.
And there's no guarantee that it will.
Right, that part.
But
It
there
is
is a
no guarantee.
guarantee that it can go right,
Yes.
because everything that is from the creator
Mhm.
is right. Like, life is perfect. Everything is as it should be. At least I'll say that out my mouth really fast before I know it. So now it's like, can you stand in peace?
Can you
That
stand in that?
Can you stand
That
in the peace
everything is
that
as it should
everything
be.
is as it should be?
Yeah.
But instantly, you start to, my friend says, Stephanie, the dot on the paper. This is just one little dot on the paper. All
Yeah.
this other paper is perfect.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just the truth. And that's negative bias. It's you focusing on the dot.
Focus on that one thing
You
and not looking at the whole picture at
Yeah.
all.
You can't see it. You
We
can't,
go
you
back to, we talked about this before, we go back to that trauma brain. We go back to the
that's
response
exactly.
from the hippocampus, from the back.
Mhm,
We're not
mhm,
thinking with this executive
mhm,
brain in the front. We're going
mhm.
straight to survival
Exactly.
because of trauma. Survival said,
Mhm.
wait, you got to be alert. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if it's negative?
Past experiences.
Past experiences. And that is so good too, because that's something that I work with my clients with. It's like when you have a win, I call them a win. When you have a win, when you have a positive thing and things start to happen that feel negative, that are negative, reflect back, but you got to be intentional about it. It's not going
You
to
have
happen.
to be intentional.
Reflect back on the win. Reflect back on when you did set that boundary and didn't have a negative consequence and you felt good about it, or whatever the win is. Reflect back on that when you have this experience again, because it's coming up again,
Yes.
right? So reflect on the positive and the win, but you got to be intentional about it, because it's not going to just happen just like that.
To change any negative bias, you have to be intentional. First, you got to be intentional, be aware that that's what it is.
Yep.
Then,
you aware.
Then
you can't intentionally do anything if you don't even recognize that it's happening.
You know, all these months you do good on a job, and then your boss calls you in and gives you some negative, what you consider negative. If you work for the company that I work for, you get just some feedback. It's just feedback. Neither positive nor negative. It's just feedback. You get that one little 20-minute of feedback, and it's over. They don't like me. I'm about to be fired.
You know, when I think about the example of why would you wear that or whatever may be negative, rather than internalizing, right? Consider the source that it's coming from. Why are they saying that right now? Is it about me or is it about them? Whatever that negative.
Thank you.
Right?
I wanted to wear this. I made this choice. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes.
It's all good.
Right? Simply, you know, I understand you upset about the C, but I did my absolute best.
Man, if we had the courage to have done that. Be like, but I got A's everywhere else. I got E's everywhere else. Like, what?
Well, we didn't do it, but we raised our kids. They did it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
They did it.
Yes.
They did it.
My beloveds would say something.
Yeah.
I pray that they didn't have that experience with me when it came to grades, but if they did, I know that they have checked me immediately.
I can remember an experience where there was no C's, but there was this seemingly, because I'm gonna say seemingly because I don't feel like it was, laissez-faire, kind of expected. I know that very true. Kind of expected, like, oh, great. And the response was, I got all A's. That's all you got to say? Like, that's it. So that was as equal to getting a C
absolutely.
and focusing just on the C.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I was like, wow, you're right. It is kind of like expected. You do it all the time. So it's like, yeah. And so we made it a point to celebrate for real, and not just like, oh, you know, put the card in your purse.
You do that in couples work. That is a challenge all the time. So this person, you know, cooks all week long, and then they don't cook one day, and it's like, you know, life is over. What's going on? You're late. Whatever happens, you don't get the reward for all the wonderful things that you did, because there's this expectation. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. Right. And then the moment that you don't do what I think you're supposed to do, or your partner doesn't do what you want them to do, then that becomes this thing that is all bad. Like life is all bad, and that's
all or nothing.
All or nothing. It's because that person has an experience that registers in them as something is not right. One little thing.
Yeah.
And that's an example of negative bias in relationship, that this person now is reacting. It's like, what are you talking about? I called you all week, and then one day I don't call. One day I don't send a good morning text, and now this has a whole narrative. This has a narrative for you that doesn't feel good. It's kind of like that. You don't want to even acknowledge the A's. You don't give me the kudos for that.
Right.
They talk about that in one of the researches, that how people give no energy to what is expected.
That's what I mean.
Negative bias, no energy to what is expected, and then this 100% negative energy to, life gone bad or
So
something.
it's no wonder when a negative thing happens, we ruminate because and it is learned.
It's very much learned. It's definitely programming.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
programming,
yeah.
and unfortunately, that programming has led us to a society that that negative energy or negative news is the day, the sound of the day, and you get a couple of blurps of good news. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then we can go right back to bad news and think nothing more of the good.
Yes. Yes.
Nothing more. Nothing more of the positiveness, nothing more of the good feeling experience. You almost have to be like overcome with positivity
Mm-hmm.
in order to counter the amount of negativity that we get on our social media or on our telephone conversations or whatever.
Right.
Mm.
And yeah, and that goes into what we can listen to over and over and over and over again.
Mhm.
The negativity. We're drawn to it.
Mhm.
We're drawn
Mhm.
to it. Also the trauma.
Mhm.
Also the trauma.
Mhm.
Um, so so the other thing that I saw too when we're talking about relationships and the difference in how negativity bias affects men and women, it affects them both, where women kind of internalize things,
Mhm.
right? And so it shows up as sadness, or depression, where men are likely to deal with it externally, where it
Mhm.
shows up as anger, outward anger,
Mhm. Or withdrawal.
or withdraw. Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is really good. Um, I want to give a couple of other um, an example of a negativity bias in a relationship. So you have an argument with your significant other, and afterwards you find yourself focusing on all your partner's flaws
Everything magnified.
instead of acknowledging their good points.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right. So that's what we do in therapy, right? What do you see
Mhm.
good about this person? Can you list some good things about this person? Um,
Mhm.
Instead of acknowledging the good points, you ruminate over all the imperfections and everything that they
Mhm.
did wrong. Kind of
Well,
sort
we
of.
start to store it up. Even if we
Mhm.
don't verbalize it at that moment, we start to store up at like arsenal
Mhm.
negative things. And so when someone wants to point something out to you, there's that, and that this is being very I'm minimizing it, but it's, well, you do that too. That's
Yeah.
that's that storing away for a later time,
That
and
ammunition they can
the
use later.
ammunition, right? Because it's like, well, we're not talking about me right now, so next time
Right.
you, when you get your turn, you bring it up. But
Right.
we're not talking about me today. We're
Should have
talking
brought
about
that up
you.
yesterday. We're talking about today.
But we store it up instead of seeing it,
Mhm.
recognizing it, and then just dousing it with all the amazing goodness that's
Yeah.
in the connection. We can hold fast to the stuff that's gone bad, and that's what helps to perpetuate the experience of a negative bias. Is that when we see something that registers like, oh, we don't quickly go and try to repair it within ourselves
Right.
about the information about the people or about the circumstance.
Mhm.
We don't move quick to do that. We will sit in it
Yeah.
and almost convince the person to change my mind. You need to change my mind about that.
Right. As if
Mm-hmm.
it's their responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. But there's good news because you can overcome negativity bias, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can overcome that. Um, and this is goes along the lines with the segment we did about negative self-talk and negative emotions. You can overcome that, right? There's things to do. Hey, hi V, hey mom, hey Kim, hey, Jackie and Antonio, thank you guys. Those are the ones I can see. If
Hello.
I did not call you and you are there, go ahead and say
Hello.
something in the
Yes.
comments because those are the ones that I can see for some reason. I'm going to take responsibility for not being savvy, social media savvy, but that's all I can see. So if you are watching and I did not call your name, welcome to everybody. Welcome to everybody. Go ahead and say something to comment so we know that you there. You have any questions? We like to have dialogue. So, and not
Absolutely.
just Steph and I. So go ahead and drop your questions or comments in the chat as well. So we can overcome this thing, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
going to take some work. We kind of alluded to the first thing is to kind of be aware.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware when it's happening, right? You'll be, and you can kind of, we'll give you some tools, but you can kind of stop yourself when it starts to happen. Don't be caught off guard when it happens again. Like,
Mm-hmm.
darn it, I'm trying to just be aware that it's happening so you can change your thought process, because this is not as simple as you, um, it's not as simple as you just being in control of something. This is a brain chemistry wiring. This is the wiring of the brain. So we have to practice, you know,
Cognitive behavioral changes.
yes, we have to practice that thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So go ahead, Steph. You have some tools for
So
us.
I had some antidotes for couples, but it can be in any relationship, and I think it doesn't have to be for couples, but I mean, it doesn't have to be exclusive for couples because relationship is relationship, right?
Right.
And
Yes.
so some of the antidotes, and one of the things that I use is like finding affirmations, finding something that fondness and affirmations, finding something that you appreciate or that you. I'll just read what I have, what was here, and this is from Dr. John Gottman too, from the Gottman Institute.
Mm-hmm.
It says fondness, and adoration grow with when couples intentionally put a positive spin on their relationship, and that's any
Any
relationship.
relationship, yeah.
So just going through the history together and going through all the things that you remember and all the good times that you had, when you talk about each other's um, things that you are most proud of, things that crack you up, that
Mm-hmm.
helps to change that negative bias that you might have in an incident or a circumstance about your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Always paying attention to that. And then a spirit of we-ness will also help to counter negative biases, because we are all one. So if
Right.
you
Correct.
showing up in my space, then I need to pay attention to whatever it is that I imagine is not okay with you, to make sure that, well, when you point one finger, three are always pointing back at you. So
Right.
understanding that having a spirit of we-ness also helps to minimize the negative bias, and then always getting back to what is familiar. And I kind of talked about that before. What's familiar? What do I know about my partner for sure? What do I know about my
Mm-hmm.
friend for sure? What do I know
Mm-hmm.
about my child for sure? What do I know about this company that I'm working for sure? Why did I choose this company in the first place?
Right.
For sure.
Right.
Let's go back to the E's and the S's on the report card. Do I know that my child goes to school and gives their best self? So they
Mm-hmm.
got an S. Do I focus on the S, and do I say what is wrong with you, or do I say what has happened? How can I support you with this S,
Right.
as
Right.
opposed to the S becoming the problem, or getting straight A's and then not acknowledging that, wow, that was big.
Yes.
So remembering who that person is. And then number four, I think I'm still at four, is being able to stand together. When you stand together with anybody, like Black people matter, when we stand together, that helps to
Yes.
also take away the negative biases that we have towards each other.
Yes.
In our circumstances, like we are in this together. I think that's why prayer groups work so wonderful, when people get
Mhm.
together and unite in prayer. But yeah, coming together and standing together will also help to alleviate negative biases in relationships. Keeping a gratitude journal, we
Yep.
both are
Yep.
journal queens. Keeping a gratitude journal, and for every one negative thing, you putting down four
More
positive
positive.
things,
Mhm.
and then like exasperate, what's the word I'm looking for, expound
It's
upon
fun.
those
Mhm.
four things over and over again when you're journaling them. And research shows what you were talking about, Michelle, is that when we do that, we actually now
Change the
target the
wiring.
rational part of the brain, and
Mm-hmm.
it goes, instead of it going through the nervous system, it actually goes out seeking for something else to affirm the positive
The
thing.
positive thing.
It goes
Yes.
out here looking for the
Yes.
positive things. It doesn't bury itself down on the inside of our bodies, making us sick or ill. It's
Yeah.
like, give me more of that. Let me have that experience some more. And that's what
Yeah.
the brain does when we attune to the positive things in life. And
Yeah.
then
Let me say something about that too, the gratitude journal. So I have an assignment that I give because, my work is in anxiety and depression and self-esteem and things like that. And so one of the assignments that I give is there's an app. It's called I Am.
I am.
And the
Mhm.
I Am app will give you all day long. You can schedule how long or how many times a day it pops up. You can also go into the categories. So it can be for gratitude, for stress, for anxiety, and it's going to give you affirmation and quotes. It could be for business, whatever it is. And I have them to download the app. And then when something pops up that really resonates, grab it and hang on to it. And then you're
Mhm.
going to write it 5 times, three
Mhm.
times a day. So you're going to write it when you wake up in the morning, you're going to write it in the middle of the day, and you're going to write it before you go to bed.
Mhm.
This way, your brain is ruminating on that thing,
Mhm.
ruminating. And I believe everything is as it should be, even
Mhm.
with these quotes. So when they pop up and I read them, they're right on time. This is
Always. It's
exactly
like
what I needed
magic.
right now.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so true. It is
Yes.
true. It's true. I
And
don't
it
know
works.
how it happens, but
And
it's
it works when they are writing this stuff down. They come back to next session. Oh my God, I feel so much better about that. And we continue to keep that going. So in
Mhm.
that gratitude journal, writing those affirmations and things that you are grateful for, have them to
Mhm.
grab one from that I Am app, one or two, and you're gonna write that down and you're gonna do that for as long as we agree that you're gonna do it until we
Mhm.
start to change
Mhm.
that thought process.
Mhm.
Somebody's at one point was as simple as I am enough,
That's it.
and it works. It
Mhm.
works. Yeah.
Yeah. Building positive memories around negative thoughts or events.
That's
Uh,
good. Mm-hmm.
Building positive memories, being intentional about building positive memories. It's some of the information I got from here is negativity bias develops as a result of bad experiences we have had in past relationships. Positive small gestures, intentional positive statements, apologies immediately when necessary are a great antidote for
Mm-hmm.
changing negative biases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other one is finding out your person's emotional needs. That's anybody's. And I know people, don't go around like, what do you need emotionally? So if you don't know how to ask that question, pay attention to what a person needs, especially as a parent, paying attention to your child's emotional needs. If they need together time, cuddle time, if they need just a space to tell their truth, making that
Mm-hmm.
space a safe place. How do you feel loved?
Yes.
Is a very powerful question, and you should be able to ask that to anyone, your mother, your sister, of course your intimate partner. But that question is a powerful question, and it's a question that we don't ask. but
Right.
but because we don't ask that, we then bump into each other, like the movie Crash. I always refer back to that. We bump into each other because we are ignorant. We don't know. I don't
Right.
know. Like my language may be acts of service, and another
Right.
person's language is quality time. And I'm doing all this work, and they're like,
Service.
"Please sit down and just watch a movie with me."
Yes. Yes. That's good. Yeah.
And so paying attention to how people, what a person's emotional needs are, and once you know what that person needs to feel love, make a conscious effort to give that to them, and
Yeah.
that also will help to deter from
And
negative.
we do have a tendency to give people what we need and
Mm-hmm.
not what they need.
Mm-hmm.
We expect people to do what we would do and not
Mm-hmm.
listen to what they want to do or need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, going along with the gratitude journal too is a kudos for a folder, right? So a collection of your achievements and progress and great reports and
Mm-hmm.
awards and things like that, so that to remind you. One thing that, this reminds me of is a really good resume. Like people don't know what they've really done till they sit down and write it all out and be like, "Ooh, I did do some really great things," right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't really think about that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
might be focusing on the degree we didn't get, but when we sit down and write out that entire resume,
Right.
and you've gotten all this experience, you've done all these
Right.
workshops and all these things. So that's just an example of uh, getting a collection, pulling together a collection of your achievements and things like that. And we got to write stuff down like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
how our brains work. You
Mm-hmm.
write that stuff down. It's more real. It's tangible. You can go back and look at it and see it. So that one's another one to go along with gratitude. That a kudos folder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
One of the things that just came to me is, who are you in the squeeze? So if I
Mm.
squeeze an orange, am I going to get orange juice? So in the squeeze, if your natural response is negativity, I'm looking for the negative, and that's okay with you, then, God bless your ministry. But if it's not, the
Right.
goal now is to understand that I need to, like, drench myself in positive ways to change. Who am I in the squeeze? Am I going to
Yeah.
see the worst in this, or am I going to see the best in this? And people, make fun of me. I did not get the quote. I don't think I did. People used to make fun of me and call me like Miss Pollyanny or whatever. And I found something in my research. I didn't put it in this paper, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. It's
And I
not.
I finally found paper and documentation to support that. There's
Well, the
nothing.
other thing is that people that have the negative thing to say, it is all about them and nothing about you.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is
But
always
they don't
about
come.
you.
People don't come across typically about it's about me. They
Oh,
typically come
no, no,
across
no.
as
They
something
they
out of place.
absolutely want it to be about you
Mhm.
to get it
Yeah,
off of
yeah,
me. I want
yeah.
it to
But
be
it's
about you.
it's projection for
It is
sure.
definitely
Mhm.
projection. It is
And so just
definitely
asking
projection.
yourself, who am I in the squeeze?
Yeah.
Where does my mind go in the squeeze? And don't judge yourself. Just take the necessary steps
Yes.
to change that, to change your nervous
Mhm.
system, change the information and where it goes, and be in a space. I want to grow. So
Right.
paying attention to, who am I in the squeeze? Are you reactive and judgmental, and uh, finding, like, look, people who you can just walk in the room. Anybody can walk in the room, and they have the wonderful, amazing ability to find something wrong with everyone.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a thing.
I have this quote that I use in life, business life, whatever, and it's like, where your focus goes, your energy grows.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Mm-hmm.
you focus on the positive, you're gonna give the positive energy. You
Mm-hmm.
focus on only the negative, then that's what you're gonna give your energy to,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
be careful about where your focus is. Where your
Mm-hmm.
focus goes, your energy grows.
Mm-hmm.
I want my energy to grow in a positive way, then we thinking positive, taking the steps and using the antidotes to make sure that I'm thinking positive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's so necessary, because it's just necessary,
It
because we
is.
are being trained to be so negative
Mhm.
about a lot of things. And I think sometimes we don't understand that
Mhm.
our automatic thoughts are not that of praise and celebration and peace and joy. They're not edifying.
Right.
They're not edifying. And so that would be, if I had to give a charge, it would be to monitor, think about what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Monitor, edifying what we're doing, making sure that we're edifying. And if we're watching or listening to
Even
something,
yourself.
well, that's all I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Paying attention to even how I hear bad news.
Yes.
How do I absorb this? How do I let this land on my person?
Mhm. Mhm.
Paying attention to that, not fixing it right away, but noticing, how do I let this land on me? What is really happening on the inside? Because you're
Yeah.
developing a negative bias, even in sitting in some of the things that we sit in.
Yeah.
It's a very subtle, but it's a societal, unfortunately, it's a
Yeah.
societal.
Yes. Yes, it is. And yeah, societal is taught is what people want us to do is the
What went
plan,
wrong, not
the
what went
plan.
right today. What
Mm-hmm.
went wrong? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Um, have a conversation with yourself. We don't like to do that
Yeah.
because we've been taught as everything. Yeah, we've been taught as everything. Um, have an out loud conversation to yourself. Like say to yourself what you would say to your girlfriend who is being very negative and it's getting annoying. Say it to yourself. Praise yourself the way you would praise that person that you're trying to encourage to see things in a positive way.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Right? We do it for everybody else. Like, right? We will, so help yourself like the way that you would help someone else.
Mhm.
Have a
Mhm.
conversation with yourself. Yeah.
And don't beat yourself up because it's just where we are. It's where we come from, especially with the last 2 years with all the sicknesses and people hurting. It's so easy and natural to fall into life
Yeah.
gone bad, life gone wrong, what's going
Mhm.
to happen. But there is so many jewels of truth.
Even in the tough times, even in the thing that you could complain about, it's
Everything.
still some joy in that.
Everybody ain't living like this. That's what I say to myself.
Yeah.
And I think I want to complain about anything. I mean, anything. My little statement is, well, everybody ain't living like this. This ain't everybody's experience.
Right.
There's somebody who would give anything
To have this
to
experience.
have this experience right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's 8 billion people on the planet. How many do I think would give anything to have this experience?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we just got to be mindful of that, and be aware
Mm-hmm.
of what we're thinking about. You were saying that change what we think about. We can think about what we think about and change what we're thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
We're the only being that can do that, and so we need to keep that in mind when stuff
Mm-hmm.
starts going away. Um, and then all things work together for good. All things,
Right.
not one thing, not you going to choose which one is going to work, all things. And of course, we cannot see in the beginning, and that's our problem because we want to see. We cannot see, but
Right.
it's still working for our good. And
Yes.
when you get into the future and you can look back and you be like, oh, that's okay. That's why that was right. So
Yes.
all things work
Yes.
together for good.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
This was
So,
good.
yeah, I have another saying like complaint and gratitude cannot dwell in the same place at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start to complain, when you start to be negative, just switch over to gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a
And
practice.
it's just like that. Yeah. And you can practice it. Don't beat yourself up because that's a negative bias. If you don't,
Right?
if you don't,
Judgment. Don't judge yourself.
just fix it. Just flip it over
Let's fix it.
until it becomes
Mhm.
a habit, because our negative biases are habits too. They're
Mhm.
survival mechanisms. They're our ego's way of saying, hey, we've been through this before. This didn't feel good. We need to protect ourselves.
We
You
need
need,
to do
you
something
need to
different.
do something about this. So
Mhm.
you just, oh, okay, let me switch it. Let me change it. Let me change, like just like that.
So, I have these things that pop up on my phone, and one thing that just popped up, it says the more consistent you are, the more consistent your results will be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so this is talking about taking care of yourself, but we're talking about the negative thoughts and negativity biases and wanting to change that. And the more consistent you are about being aware and doing something about it and finding gratitude, the more consistent the results will
Mm-hmm.
be.
Mm-hmm.
The more consistent you are, the more consistent you will be.
Mm-hmm. And when you find that it's so difficult, because I don't want to, I do not like being so cavalier to think, oh, well, it's easy, just do that. I
It
I,
is
I
not.
don't believe that, because of the work that I do in my own personal journey. I know that that's not just an automatic. But when you find that I'm doing this and I'm still having whatever negative reactions or whatever, it's not letting me go. Come and see somebody, come
Right.
talk about it. And then it gives you a safe place to have the experience and to practice the feeling of it, and practice the feeling of it again and again and again until it just becomes what you do.
And
Because
more personalized tools.
yes,
Right? Because this is general,
very
right? But
general.
more personalized, one-on-one, more personalized tools that you could work with when you
Mm-hmm.
see someone,
Mm-hmm.
right? You might think you have the information, but when you go to see someone, they say something that you had not thought of.
And it's crafted to your experience.
Yes.
Because another thing that happens when people say, "Oh, just be positive, read Norman Vincent Peale's book, and just okay," or "just think and grow rich," and then people become discouraged because their life haven't changed just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so give yourself grace and
Yeah.
partner with someone. And if it's not, a therapist, which is of course our desire, that's our bias.
Right.
But partner with someone and just kind of break it down. Maybe it needs to be broken down more specific for you, because we all, part of our negative bias, will say, "But you don't know my story."
Yes.
So please let us help it.
And we give you that. We want to know your story so we can
Yeah.
help you to change
Mm-hmm.
your story,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Going forward, because you
Yeah.
can't change what has happened, but you
Right.
definitely can change going forward.
Every day of tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. This was good. It was short and sweet, I think.
Yes, I think
Um,
so too.
I think it was like enough. um, we got the information in the way it needed to be. Hopefully, you guys have gained some insight from what we've been talking about.
Absolutely.
We definitely hope you gain some insight from what we've been talking about and got some tools. You know what you know how to reach us. If you don't, we're gonna tell you. Yeah.
Yes.
Just in case there's someone on here that's on here for the very first time, you can reach me at Psychology Today. You can reach me on Facebook as Michelle Bird. You can reach me on Instagram, Mrs. Bird LPC. I'm at ChicagoCompassCounseling.com. I'm on YouTube, Heads Up Mental Clarity. So you can find me in all of those places. Shoot me a DM if you're on social media. You can give me a call, 773-732-0073. So those are the ways that you can reach me if you need any further assistance or guidance or just have questions.
Mm-hmm. And I can be reached, of course, also on Psychology Today. Private practice is at Lamplight Counseling Services. My contact information is 440-630-0309. And you can email me at letstalkmft@gmail.com. And then Instagram, well, I guess I have a lot of stuff out there. Instagram, I need to turn on some notifications. Instagram is S McCain MFT.
Yes. That is us. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. We appreciate you. Please click like and share. Tell your friends about it, your family, that they can come over here and get some real professional, experienced information, because that is our goal, to share this information with people who cannot go to therapy, choose not to go to therapy, or
Right.
whatever the case may be. We
Mm-hmm.
want to share information with people so they can get it. All right. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you.
Bye.